We discuss some exciting developments coming to Atlantic City, including the diversification strategy of a blue economy, as well as a HUD designated Envision Center. It's all here on the next Latino Motion. Join us.
Choose to get lost in the woods to gain experience in forest management.
Choose to travel through time to understand the past.
Choose to soar to pursue a career in dance.
Stockton University offers 50 high-quality academic programs, small class sizes, and affordable tuition. Choose to match your interests and talents at one of New Jersey's nationally ranked universities.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation, and Stockton University. This edition of Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is brought to you by the HD Studios at the campus of Stockton University. Funding for Latino Motion is provided by AtlantiCare, a member of Geisinger, Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world, and South Jersey Gas. Welcome to Latino Motion, a weekly interview show highlighting issues impacting New Jersey's Latino community while advancing understanding of Latino cultural heritage and contributions to our society. And here is your host, Bert Lopez.
Buenos dias and welcome to Latino Motion. I'm happy to have as my guest Jim Rutala. He is with Rutala Associates as the principal there. Jim, welcome to Latino Motion.
Good afternoon, Bert. How are you?
Good. I am excited about today's interview because you're going to talk about something that's very exciting for Atlantic City. It's the blue economy. And this is something that very few people know anything about it. And I was so impressed by the presentation you gave of one of our meetings. And I'm interested in hearing more, and I'm sure our audience is. Please tell me, what is a blue economy?
Well, thank you, Bert. The blue economy is really, and it is a growing economy. And in Atlantic City, we have been working towards diversifying our economy. So we're looking for options beyond casinos and beyond the hotels. And the blue economy is really everything that's surrounding us. It is offshore wind. It is the beaches and the boardwalk. It is waterfront properties. It's the marinas. It's fishing and recreational boating. And it's just, it's all around us, yet we don't capitalize on it the way we should. And this is going to be our opportunity.
I know you have a slide presentation, and if you don't mind, you could start sharing. But this is really a way to start taking advantage of the resources that are available in Atlantic City. So I look forward to seeing that visual and seeing more details on what this really means for Atlantic City.
Definitely. First off, Bert, the blue economy is international and is growing tremendously. And it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. They're saying the value of the industry will be over $3 trillion in 2030. And here in Atlantic City, we're surrounded by the blue economy. We have commercial fishing. We have recreational boating, coastal resources, offshore wind, alternative energy, and the boardwalk and beaches. And this graphic was done by the World Bank several years ago. And when you look at it, it is everything that Atlantic City is. From tourism, we're very involved in climate change and resiliency. Over $80 million is being spent in Atlantic City right now on resiliency. Renewable energy, we're going to have the largest wind farm in the nation off the coast of Atlantic City. Fisheries, we have a tremendous fishery industry in the basin, over 150 jobs. Waste management and maritime interest, boating and recreational boating, all those things are really part of our economy, and they all have the potential to grow significantly. This is the chart that we don't like to look at. This is the chart of the casino employees. And certainly the casino industry has been very good to Atlantic City, but there's been a lot of change over the years, and it'll continue to change. And what was once 50,000 employees is now around 25,000 employees. So we've seen a big change in our industry. And we need to find a replacement. We need to find an industry that's going to grow into the future. And that really is the blue economy. In Atlantic City, we're very uniquely positioned. Everyone can't take advantage of the blue economy, but we have a tremendous situation in the fact that we have Stockton University here in the city now, Atlantic Cape Community College. We have phenomenal convention facilities. As I mentioned earlier, Ørsted is building the first wind farm off the coast of Atlantic City. They're going to build their O&M facility here in the city. Atlantic Shores is planning a offshore wind farm off Atlantic City, and they have their offices at Stockton. And then, as I mentioned, we have marinas, we have a lot of vacant land, and we have a famed boardwalk and beautiful beaches. So there's a lot of industries for us to take advantage of, and we really have the infrastructure to build on. Earlier last year, the city and Stockton teamed up and received a grant from New Jersey Economic Development Authority to study the blue economy and really to look at the Coastal Resiliency Center to be built in Atlantic City and the Wind Institute. And this slide shows all the different funding sources that are available for those types of facilities. The governor has recently came out with a report talking about the Wind Institute. And the Wind Institute is a research and development and workforce development center that is going to be located somewhere in the state of New Jersey. And this was announced in a report that came out by the state back in June of this year. And it fits perfectly in Atlantic City, and I'll explain why. The report talks about six different considerations of where the Wind Institute should be built. And each one of them fit Atlantic City. The first is they talk about location near offshore wind activities. As I mentioned earlier, we have the Ørsted and the Atlantic Shore facilities. We have the ACOA wind farm that was the first wind farm in the United States, first wind farm in New Jersey, and many other support facilities. The second determination is that the location should be accessible. They want to be able to make sure that international visitors as well as visitors from the United States can get here easily. And that's something that the casinos have worked very hard at. They bring in people from all over the world, and they can come into Philadelphia Airport and be in Atlantic City within an hour. So the access is there, and it's always improving. Talk about the creation of special purpose facilities, and just to have space for these facilities. And certainly Atlantic City has a lot of vacant property, some on the beachfront and waterfront, but there's a lot of opportunity in the city for growth. They talk about demonstrating independence as a standalone facility. They don't want this facility to be located at Stockton University, but they want to be able to have it in a way that it can take advantage of Stockton and its potential. So, and we certainly have that here in the city. They talk about incorporating innovative design. And certainly we have all kinds of different architecture in Atlantic City. And so innovative design would certainly be appreciated and fit into the community. And they talk about leveraging underutilized assets, possibly using buildings that are underutilized now that can be used for the Wind Institute.
So Jim, there's a lot of information here, obviously, and one of the important slides you brought up was the decline of the casino industry. We want to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics.
welcome back to Latino Motion. We continue our discussion with Jim Rutala on the blue economy. And Jim, you share some very valuable information and certainly made the point as to why Atlantic City is a place to be for the blue economy. There's other reasons why Atlantic City is also a good selection. Tell me more about that.
Well, we're really at a turning point, and we need to really find a new base of economy. And one of the major things is Ørsted is in the process of designing and building an offshore wind farm that will create 3,000 new jobs. 3,000 new jobs for construction and another 50 jobs in Atlantic City. And we have to prepare for that. And to prepare for it, the high school is working with AtlantiCare Community College in Stockton in putting together an apprenticeship program to really prepare young people for the future jobs. So there's really a whole collaboration that is starting to work towards this new economy.
And we know that you show that one slide where we see the decline in terms of jobs in the casino industry. Why do you feel, and obviously that's a great reason why there is a need to diversify, but why do you feel that going with the blue economy makes sense overall as a diversification strategy for Atlantic City?
Well, it's such a huge growth industry. When you start thinking about things like climate change, and you think about the amount of money that's going to be spent, you start to think about alternative energy and those areas. There's going to be a tremendous amount spent, and we can really take advantage of it, both from a research standpoint with places like Stockton, but also in an employment standpoint. We have many blue-collar workers that can be trained to work in these new economies, and it's really a way for us to grow our area.
And again, we're not saying that the casino industry is going to go away. We're hoping that it continues to grow, but that need for the diversification is critical for the residents and for the region, so that when there is a downturn in the economy, everything's not in the same basket, if you will. What kind of training do you think? You mentioned the need for a workforce. Is there any unique training with a blue economy that is needed?
Well, I mean, there's a number of things. Water safety is obviously going to be important because a lot of the work is going to be done over the water. All of it is unique. I mean, we have a lot of union people, union labor in the area, but in this case, they're going to be working in a different environment, in a blue environment, in a water environment. So they have to be trained to deal with that from a safety standpoint, from a technology standpoint. And then there's also, from a research and development standpoint, there's tremendous opportunities because this area is going to continue to grow. And we're just starting to learn about what the blue economy can offer the area.
It sounds like the offshore windmills that you mentioned with Ørsted is the anchor. What other major industries or outcomes do you see coming with a blue economy?
Well, there's a few things. One is the ship industry, the boating industry, and there's going to be dozens of boats that will come into the basin to take people to work every day because they'll be working offshore. The helicopters, the heliports will be a growing area here because it won't just be ships, it will also be helicopters flying off back and forth, both for maintenance as well as for construction. So there's a lot of different things that, and then all the support industries. You're building a $1 billion facility offshore, just like when they built Ocean Resort, our last casino. There were all different types of construction workers that were needed for that construction.
What happens after construction, right? So it sounds like there's a build-up for the construction phase for the offshore. But how about after that is done? What else could be attracted to this area?
Yeah, Ørsted is planning to build their O&M facility on Delaware Avenue in Atlantic City. That facility will have at least 50 full-time employees, working there, and their job will be to maintain the wind farm for the next 30 to 50 years. That'll continue to be an area of growth for individuals to work. And hopefully that's just the first one. In December, the second bid for offshore wind will be made, and EDF Shell, who has their offices now in Stockton, are going to be bidding for that project. So they could also be located in Atlantic City. It's our challenge to kind of make Atlantic City appealing to not just the wind industry, but the whole coastal industry, and embrace it. And so they'll invest in our area.
Let's talk about the tourist industry, right, which is big for this area. Obviously, the summers. How would the blue economy impact that industry?
Well, as we were talking, we're really at the infancy stage of the blue economy. There's a lot to learn, and that's going to continue to happen. And so there's going to be many national and international conferences and meetings of academics and operators from around the world. And we want them to come to Atlantic City. We want them to use our casinos, they want our hotels, our convention facilities, and just create another layer of economic growth in the region. We have that foundation, and we can really use it.
Do you feel that there's going to be expansion on the fishery part of the business here? Industry? We do. We've been meeting with the fisheries here in Atlantic City, and one of their biggest limitations is the fact that the basin hasn't been dredged for decades. And we are working collectively with Ørsted, with the fishing industry, with the recreational boating industry, to develop a plan to dredge the entire basin. And with that comes a lot more access to Atlantic City. I mean, and to our area. Right now, large boats can't come into Atlantic City because they don't have access. So it really is, that's a big opportunity for the city. So it sounds like a blueprint to diversify the city more towards that blue economy, which is great. What's next? Obviously, the Ørsted is the big player at the moment, but what comes next?
What's next is really setting the foundation. The fact that the high school and Stockton are working together to put together an entrepreneurship program is huge. We need to, the governor, Governor Murphy is going to be making a decision in the next year or two about where to locate the Wind Institute. And we've already started to build the momentum to show that this is the place. The mayor has sent the governor a letter. City council has acted. The local chamber of commerce is getting on board. The casino industry and our elected officials.
Let's keep our fingers crossed. Certainly, that would be a big lift for Atlantic City. Unfortunately, Jim, that's all the time we have. Thank you for sharing this great information with our audience. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics.
Welcome back to Latino Motion. My next guest is Jimmy Whitehead. He is the president of Millennium Technologies, and he's going to talk about Innovation Center that's coming to Atlantic City. Jimmy, welcome to Latino Motion.
Thank you very much, Bert Lopez. I'm very pleased to be joining you today. Thank you.
Let's talk about the Innovation Center that was announced through HUD. It's a great opportunity, another great opportunity coming to Atlantic City. Tell me more about that.
Yes, sir. When Ben Carson was first appointed as Secretary of HUD, under the current administration, he came up with this idea that he wanted to create envision centers in urban and rural communities, which have four pillars. One of them was economic empowerment, one of them was education achievement, one of them was health and fitness, and one of them was building character. So he wanted to create a hub where communities could go to get workforce training, get opportunities for new jobs, and really just try to help uplift the economy at the grassroots by using Envision Centers as a platform.
What is the work that Envision Center will be doing?
Yes, sir. Well, our first priority right now is we're very focused on creating 300 new jobs, provide workforce training for 300 new jobs that will be providing COVID contact tracing phone calls so that we can start helping uncloak this invisible COVID-19 enemy. And in the process of doing that, we also will be retaining data. So it helps us develop some trends on what's going on around the country. We partnered New Jersey with Arkansas, the state of Arkansas, so we'll be launching a test pilot in the next couple of weeks.
What type of training will you be providing for those jobs?
Well, it's going to be pretty basic training that somebody with either a GED or a returning citizen or just the average person can do. They'll be making phone calls, and we'll teach them about phone etiquette and how to establish a rapport with people who are going through COVID. And then once we do the basic training in terms of phone ethics and how you do this job, then they have to complete a 6-hour certification course offered by Johns Hopkins, and they get a certificate saying that they've completed contact tracing calls. So it's a very simple training process, but it's going to be very required to be able to move forward with us.
It's the only one in New Jersey?
No, sir, there actually are 70 now. The last round, you had to submit an application to the federal government. There were 60 applications submitted from America, and out of 60, they selected 5. And so Atlantic City was one of the 5 of the 60 applications they submitted. But right now they have 70 altogether, and that was the last tranche of Envision Centers they were going to award. And we were lucky enough to be selected as one of them.
Are you using existing infrastructure for this, or are you building a new building?
Good point. Very good point. Just like you and Mr. Rutala were just talking about with the blue economy, we are going to use existing structures and just kind of refine them. So yes, we're not going to build new, we're going to use existing structures.
Are these just temporary jobs? Do you see them sticking around for a while? What's your vision?
Well, we think these are long-term jobs between 5 to 10 years because the way we're going to set this up, first of all, COVID is not going away, and there are going to be other pandemics that grow out of this, unfortunately. So the first phase is going to be about a 2 to 3 year program in terms of doing the calls. And while we're doing the calls, starting in November, December, we just have a brand new device, which I can't mention the name of it yet, but it'll be out in the market soon. And this device will give you the results of a COVID test, positive, negative, or antibodies in 20 seconds. And it doesn't require any kind of a blood test, and it doesn't require any laboratory. It uses artificial intelligence to do this. Millennium Technologies has partnered with Dell and Intel to bring this technology to Atlantic City, and it'll be distributed throughout America. So phase 1 is contact tracing calls. Phase 2 will be administering this 20-second test throughout America. And then phase 3 will be distribution of vaccines with a key partner that I can't mention right now that has 3,000 stores in America.
But it sounds like the scope of other work that you will also be using more skilled workforce down the line.
Yes, sir. Matter of fact, I'm glad how you and Mr. Rutala were having your discussion, because let's just say we have a call center with 150 employees. Well, maybe 150 of those employees are focused on COVID calls, but then we'll have another group of employees that are focused on calls they're going to be making for other companies like Amazon, et cetera. And then we have another group of calls that will be working on commission-based phone calls. So we'll have a mixture of call center personnel in the facility, but it will be a long-term opportunity and several $100 million of investment.
So Jimmy, you mentioned the fact that Atlantic City qualified for this because of being in an urban city. What kind of opportunities will you give to at-risk youth?
Well, we want to have a focus on, our focus is first, Atlantic City residents first. Secondly, we will focus on creating some Latino phone callers because we need to have a multicultural call center. Thirdly, we will deal with returning citizens, providing them with an opportunity. And lastly, but not least, at-risk youth is a number one priority. But, some of them are still in high school. So we're actually going to create some type of, I'm going to use your words, blue economy workforce training in the areas of cybersecurity, of drones, other kind of things that youth like to do. Because, our young people are born with this cell phone in their hand. Matter of fact, the NSA refers to our youth as digital warriors and digital cyber warriors. And these young people know how to work a computer or a cell phone better than me or you. They're born with it in their hands. So we really want to maximize what the youth like to do instead of try to force them to do something that they might not really be interested in. We want to find out what they want to do. We want to work with Lieutenant Santiago, Wilbur Santiago, and include the PAL in this effort. We really want to work closely with Celeste Fernandez to help us identify some Latino candidates for these new jobs. And particularly, we want to work with you and your leadership to help give us some guidance in terms of the communities we should reach out to.
How can people get more information about these opportunities?
Yes, sir. They can send me an email at jwhitehead@mtrx5.com, and I believe that your station is going to post this information. We also have an office located right now at 3317 Atlantic Avenue, which is a small call center, 2,000 square feet. So we have 15 people working there now, but I'm available either by email or either come by the office and ask for Jimmy, and I'll provide information.
Well, Jimmy, thank you so much for this information. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Great information, great opportunities for our community in Atlantic City. That's all the time we have, folks. Thank you for joining us once again here on Latino Motion.
Choose to get your feet wet, to learn more about protecting our environment. Choose to read minds, to understand the human brain.
Choose to get your hands dirty, to create a masterpiece.
Stockton University offers 50 high-quality academic programs, small class sizes, and affordable tuition. Choose to match your interests and talents at one of New Jersey's nationally ranked universities.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by AtlantiCare, a member of Geisinger. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas. Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics.